This is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and this is a midday market update for Thursday, October 4th, 2018. I wanted to do another one. This is my second market update today for you YouTubers out there. Right Side of the Chart, general market analysis, meaning stock, broad market. That's public content, and I haven't done a public video in a few days, but I've been doing frequent updates recently for members. Two videos yesterday. And part of that is, the markets, it's been the same story. We've been grinding up, back testing, back testing, back testing on QQQ and NQ. So I sound like a broken record there lately. And also testing, 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 hugging this support line on ES. So, I continue to reiterate, I expected these to break down, figured it was going to happen very soon. And what I've done, since there hasn't been many technical developments, just wrapped up all the recent market updates, combined with trade ideas. I laid out about 7 or so short trade ideas yesterday. All of those are doing very well today, and of course, cover everything else we cover is premium content: gold, natural gas, silver, crude oil. A lot of trading ops there recently, and mining stocks and all that other stuff. So let's now just do this public video, and it's also an update for members of the site. Let's start out with last night. Last night in the trading room, I don't often post at 11 o'clock at night, but it was around 11 p.m. last night Eastern time. That's my time zone. Yeah, I was watching the future, so I posted an update. And this is an FYI for members of the site. If you're a gold member, you're in the trading room. If you join any of the groups in the trading room, the groups are along the side here: swing trading, futures trading, precious metals, day trading, commodities. You see them all here, cannabis stocks. Whatever groups you're interested in, join those groups, and then you can go in and set up email notifications. You have an option of getting a notification immediately when a post is made in the trading room under that group. For example, futures trading, you can get a daily digest. If you're not an active trader, it'll give you a summary of all the posts made in that group and the comments and replies, or you can get a weekly digest. So, for example, if you're a dividend income investor, not a very active trader, you like to trade commodities, things that aren't timely, you can do a weekly or daily digest. But point being, you would have had a notification by email on this one. And what I said is the ES was starting to crack below the 60-minute trend line, with NQ also breaking down. Went on to say, so pretty much these were both providing objective short entries here. And that was the golden entry last night right there. So boom, we would have, I'll get to the charts here in a second. So these are playing out well. And again, at 11 p.m., I'm usually not working. If I am, I'm just reviewing charts at night. But this was a good trading op, and you got to move. In yesterday's video for members, I use this analogy. I put this chart up, or this image, and I said this is a mental image I've had in the market in recent days, pushing, pushing, pushing. ES and SPY, holding those, tapping on those support levels that I've been watching, waiting to break. And I use this analogy of the coin pusher machine. You drop the quarter in. These are the supports. This was, to me, in my mind's eye, the support levels that not just the ES and NQ, but a lot of major stocks as well. They were all sitting on here. And what happens when you play this game? Put enough quarters in, and finally, when it breaks, you don't just have one or two fall here. You get the whole cluster, a whole clump comes down. And that's my analogy on the stock market. That's, I've seen this many times before. So with so much evidence showing you the divergences, the fact that the bounces were becoming weaker and weaker and the indexes were hugging trendline support, this is what happens when it breaks. So instead of just moving down in a controlled order like these, 0.5% up and down days we've had recently, you get a big day. And now we have the small caps are down over 2%. I think the Nasdaq's down about that much. And again, the futures even more if you get a jump on that last night. So that's what's going on here. And we'll get to the charts here. Let's just look. There's the other one. There was NQ, and this was the level I was talking about. So, this stuff is, again, nothing is 100% in trading. I don't want to make it seem that way, but I use a very fair, what I consider very simple yet effective trading style: wash, rinse, repeat. You can see all these lines down below on the indicators. Those are divergences. These are divergent highs. You get a trend line break. And so basically that's what the market does. So if you're flexible, you can trade long, look for the bullish divergences, but all these little wedge patterns, trend line breaks, and most importantly, these divergent highs, these are the corrections. And this is what I like to trade. And if you trade NQ, even a 1% pullback in NQ is good for for 1,500 bucks per contract. So you get a 2% move, and you're talking some nice gains there. So either way, there was the break right there. We had a small little wedge, divergent high, and let's get to let's look at the charts right now. Let's go to NQ first. Here's that trend line I've been watching, the minor uptrend line. Back test, back test, back test. And this is a different chart than the one I just showed you. This is the one I've been covering more regularly recently. This is a 60-minute chart. And that's it. This is what happens when the floodgates open. You get that pretty quick waterfall sell-off. And here's the thing, we're not even at support right now. Certainly we're stretched. We're down right now. You can see down here in the bottom, 2.25% on the futures NQE minis. But again, that's what happens. Yeah, there's some minor support right about here. You know what? I'm going to do that now. Put a trend line. So, we'll only go down so much in any given one day. I'm not expecting a market crash at this point. I'm just looking for correction, and this is how they usually come. So, there's that. I'm going to watch that level, and actually, I'm going to pause the video and put a tight trailing stop right now on my positions. Okay, yeah, I think there's some minor support there, and we're quite stretched for the day, so we could get a little snapback here. But again, before all is said and done, I think we come down here. This has been my target for a while. Swing target there, 74.37, give or take on NQ. So let's look at ES real quick for you. Give you some levels to watch. If I can find it here, here we go. So there it was. That was last night's trend line break. This is the chart I posted there. And you can see, and I mentioned, taking out, this is just minor support. So that would help firm up the sell signal. And there it is. We broke down below there. And again, maybe a kickback rally, back test that from below, something like this today, since we're getting a little bit stretched. But I wouldn't get too cute trying to game the bounces here. We've just finally had some pretty decent sell signals today. So I'm looking for something like that, 28, 70, 50-ish level there. That'd be that's my target right now. And we may get more than that. And that was, by the way, it was about flat layer. It was still divergent at that most recent high. Some divergence I should have added on that chart. All right, next up. I know not everybody trades futures, but I do think they're worth charting. Again, there's a good example. Last night, you got a heads up at 11 p.m. You were able to, get ahead of this because the market's gapped down today. So give you a more favorable entry. But here's SPY. There was that minor little uptrend line. SPY had broken down this below this 60-minute uptrend line, was backtesting, even though ES was holding support. And as I always say, I give the benefit of the doubt. When you're in a strong, very resilient uptrend, you don't short the first break of support on SPY or QQQ. You want to see both QQQ and SPY break down, and ideally the futures as well. You have to give the benefit of the doubt to the trend, and so that's what happened. So ES was really the last holdout, if you will, and then of course we had this breakdown here, and I mentioned these levels recently, 289.30, 289.39. We're below that now on SPY. There is some minor support below. You can see all these lines are there for a reason. They're support lines. So, like I said, we're stretched today. I'm looking for a little bounce, and um, just covered up my NQ short. I had a real tight stop and got hit right after I placed it and started this video. So I'll jump back in when I see an objective entry. Again, I'm a very active trader. Think if you're a swing trader, hold tight, ride out any counter trend bounces. And here's QQQ just starting to crack below this. This is a level I've been watching as well in the 60-minute chart. We had the uptrend line that I've talked about for quite a while. It goes all the way back to early April. There it is, broke down. We've been back testing. I know it sounded like a broken record over the past month, but that's what it's been doing. And that's it. So the technicals have just simply finally played out, and they're playing out for correction. I could draw a little, divergence. We had basically an equal high on QQQ there, which extends the divergences there. You can see that, and a little breakdown, and boom, there it is, impulsive selling. So again, if we can't snap back soon and get back above this on this 60-minute candle or the next candle back above this minor uptrend line, that opens the door down here to 180. So, like I said, very short-term stuff aside, sometimes that's really hard to do what I call these micro calls. But I think it looks something along these lines right here. But again, if this happens, if 180 or so gets hit today or tomorrow, I think it's one of the two, no later than next Monday. And again, those are the targets that I have. And so when we go out to the daily chart, we look at a couple things to note. There is still that's that same uptrend line right here. This one I'm pulling here is the same one I was just showing you on the 60-minute chart. So when I come out to the daily time frame, I need to get rid of these fib lines here. When I come out to the daily time frame, what stands out to me is here's a line intraday we're cracking below it. At least you could see it better there on the 60-minute chart, but we're effectively on it right now on the daily chart, give or take. And again, you may get an intraday break of that line, which would take us below it on the 60-minute chart, only to close back on it. So what I'm getting at here, the QQQ is down 2%, over 2% at support or darn close to it, and just a hair below. Is this the most objective time to short? No. If you are short, you probably want to hold on because I think we get maybe at best a little kickback rally, maybe not. And again, I'm not going to share exact price targets because this may become an official trade, and we already have an official short on IWM, or TW, the ultra short, TWM, which is a two-time leverage in IWM, but I may add QQQ as an official trade. I have some targets marked up on another chart. And again, that's official trade ideas are only for members of the site. That's it. I don't think there's much more to mention. I mean, there are some related developments. I've been covering treasury bonds recently, looking for some potentially big move there or a tradable move. Gold as well. Again, there's some buy signals pending for gold that I've covered, euro. But as far as a broad market goes, let me show you one other thing here. Okay, here I'll give you this. This is IWM. This is a daily chart. I have a lot of variations, and again, we have an active trade on this, so I'm not going to go into too much details. But I do want to say that this is a longer-term trend line here that's coming into play. So we're at that trend line support, and just below that's support at about 159.96. So I'd expect a reaction soon, whether we get it right here, which is possible, go just a little bit lower at about the 160 level. We'll call that 160 to round up. And then maybe reaction, but again, these are divergences that these divergent lines that have led to corrections in the past. So far, we've had a correction, and the IWM has had the biggest correction of all the major stock indexes, and that's one reason that was our only official trade so far. But these divergences could certainly play out for more. So let's watch this level. Let's see what happens. So either we're going to have, well, we've now had a little correction so far today. Again, I think there's a little more downside. It certainly has the potential to morph into more, but at this point, there's still some pretty substantial support levels below, and I'll just have to update it. We'll just have to see, take the charts as they develop. Like I always say, the charts are dynamic, and so is my analysis. But that's it. So most of today's move probably been already there, and I'm looking for that little bounce. And I'm going to stop this video and may even go long to game a little bit of that bounce right now. This has been Randy Finney with the right side of the chart. Hope you have a great trading day.